On the news around the world tonight, reps approve President Tinubu's $516 million loan request. Governor Makinde holds Peter Obi over proposed coalition deal. US reviews Iran's peace proposal. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the news around the world. I am Josephine Oluwapumi. On the sign language corner is Shakirat Ogundeji. The House of Representatives has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to borrow over $516.3 million in syndicated financing from Deutsche Bank. The request was approved during the plenary on Tuesday in Abuja after the presentation of a report by the Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debts Management, Abdullahi Rashid. The money is expected to fund the construction of sections of the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway. Recall that President Tinubu wrote to the lawmakers seeking a $516.3 million loan from Deutsche Bank to support the construction of the road. The president said the loan, to be sourced from a syndicated financing facility by Deutsche Bank, will fund sections 1, subsection 1A and 1B of the project, which covers about 120 kilometers. Almost 3 years after President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidy, many Nigerians are still grappling with its far-reaching effects. Citizens say the policy introduced on May 29, 2023 came unexpectedly with little or no immediate measures to cushion its impact. Staff reporter Gbemisola Adebayo takes a look at the development government still maintains was necessary to stabilize the economy.
Fuel is widely regarded as the lifeblood of any economy. So, when the announcement of the removal of petrol subsidy was made by President Bola Tinubu during his inauguration speech, it sent shockwaves across the nation. Almost instantly, petrol prices surged, triggering ripple effect on transportation, food prices, and basic services. For many Nigerians, daily commuting became more expensive, forcing workers and students to adjust their routines or seek alternatives.
Nigerians are still struggling. Things are far way difficult to every Nigerian now. And I feel that my projection, when that announcement was made with the removal of fuel subsidy, was that by now things ought to have stabilized. Talking about the comfort of average Nigerians, I see this as a policy somersault.
We've not seen any government impact at all up to now. Then, where Seyi Makinde is trying, he has done so many routes within the town, but now we need more action.
Small business owners were not spared either. From market traders to artisans, many have had to increase the prices of goods and services to stay afloat, often at the risk of losing customers. Some car owners, faced with rising fuel prices, have turned to public transportation. Meanwhile, the anticipated improvement in energy supply has not materialized, worsening the situation and prompting many people to adopt alternative energy sources such as solar power, which is becoming increasingly common.
Removal of subsidy has caused lots of economical inflation. For example, we bought about 60,000 worth of petrol, and in 2 days it's finished already. So Nigerians, I can say we are adapting. I personally, it comes to a point whereby if you have no choice, you just have to adapt. But it's very difficult.
The federal government, on its part, introduced palliative measures, including cash transfers and transport schemes, among others. However, many citizens argue that these interventions have either been insufficient or poorly implemented. A professor of political science, Bade Ojo, expressed the view that the removal of fuel subsidy was designed to stimulate economic growth through improved infrastructure and enhanced living standards for Nigerians. However, He noted that the policy has yielded limited results with only modest gains in certain areas. It therefore emphasized the need for more effective economic management by the federal government.
Must have been one of the reasons why the finance minister was relieved of his position. Federal government has withdrawn subsidy, right? But despite that, they are accumulating debt, which is uncalled for. Aside from that, for those of us that are federal workers, payment of salaries are delayed every month. Then what is the essence of subsidy withdrawal? And in terms of infrastructure, we can see award of contract. But what of implementation? In the last 3 years, one major problem federal government have been facing through Ministry of Finance is disbursement of money. It is one thing to prepare budget that this year you want to spend 10 billion on health sector. But if at the end of the year you could not release 2 billion, then budget is not being implemented. That means economy cannot grow. That means the life of an Afro-Nigerian cannot be better off. So government need better manager for the economy.
Now that the subsidy removal is irreversible, only time will tell whether the policy will ultimately deliver the promised economic transformation or deepen existing challenges. Bemisola Adebayo, BCOS News.
The recent discussion surrounding rising insecurity and the call to suspend political campaigns in 8 states brings Nigeria to a familiar but uncomfortable crossroad. It also focuses on how to balance democratic continuity with the urgent need to protect lives. Legal advisor, Inter-Party Advisory Council, Oyo State Chapter, Mr. Adebimpe Adelowo Esquire, and a lawyer, Mr. Oluwatobi Fatoke Esquire, made this known while participating on the BCOS News and Current Affairs live interview program, Matters Arising. Temitope Ogunleye monitored the program. A report is presented by Bimbo Akambi.
The hues and cries over rising insecurity and the proposed suspension of political campaigns in 8 states is not just another policy debate. It is a reflection of a nation grappling with the tension between survival and sovereignty. At a time when democracy should be deepening, the very conditions required for its expression appears increasingly fragile. Scholars say the National Assembly, as part of its constitutional responsibility under Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, is empowered to make laws for the smooth administration of the country and to perform oversight functions. According to them, it is important that these responsibilities are carried out effectively, ensuring that due process is followed and that the welfare and security of citizens remain a priority. According to legal practitioner Oluwatobi Fatoke Esquire, the reality is that insecurity, including insurgency and kidnappings, has been on the rise for a long time, yet decisive actions has not been consistently taken. This raises serious concerns about whether the protection of lives has truly been prioritized. He added that it is troubling that concerns about insecurity have been raised only as elections approach. Members of the National Assembly who are now expressing concerns ought to have done so much earlier.
Now people come together and say, oh, let us have a ruler, let us elect those that will rule us. So that's exercising their franchise, giving them the power that they can exercise on their own. But people don't want to take arms for self-defense, they don't want to take arms by themselves, they don't want to govern themselves this and there, they don't want a state of anarchy. And they have elected. So if a governor, and the president, the chief of staff, the security agencies are not doing enough, then it's really cause for concern. And there is a huge role on the National Assembly to curb this. That's where, under the, that's where check and balances come into play.
Speaking on the issue, legal advisor, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Oyo State Chapter, Adebimpe Adelowo Esquire, said it is the responsibility of all arms of government to ensure that citizens can live safely and enjoy their constitutional rights, as insecurity is not a new problem. It has existed for years without sufficient proactive measures.
We know that The issue of insecurity is not, does not start today. That started, Nigerian can have this attitude towards protecting its citizen.
They urged the government to ultimately demonstrate genuine commitment to protecting all citizens, not just during election periods, but at all times. And according to them, security interventions should be visible, effective, and sustained so that citizens can feel safe in their daily lives.
It's time for a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Refreshment is goodness to go round in the Peak Yogurt Drink 1 liter Full House pack with more refreshment, which contains fresh cow milk. Enjoy Full House goodness filled with essential vitamin and minerals. Peak, reach for your peak.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
You're welcome back. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has paid a visit to Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde in a move to strengthen ongoing efforts towards a coalition of opposition parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. The visit is part of broader consultations among key opposition figures aimed at fostering unity and presenting a formidable front in future elections. Details of the visit are presented by Governor's Office correspondent Olalekan Sulaiman.
Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, on Tuesday arrived at the Oyo State Governor's Office, Agodi, Ibadan, at exactly 2:44 p.m. He was accompanied by former governor of Imo State, Achike Udenwa, and Senator Ben Obi, among other associates. The delegation was received by the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, after which they proceeded into a closed-door meeting. Briefing journalists after the meeting, Mr. Obi said the visit was part of ongoing consultation with Governor Seyi Makinde to advance discussions on proposed political coalition aimed at transforming the nation's fortunes. He noted that the initiative is focused on repositioning the country's economy from a consumption-driven model to one anchored on production.
The coalition is 2027 elections and the overall well-being of Nigeria, because it is about Nigeria. How do we build a better Nigeria? How we can build a better Nigeria, a Nigeria where we will all be proud to say it is our country. A Nigeria where a child of nobody can be somebody without knowing anybody. A better Nigeria. And a more united, secure, progressive Nigeria where we are going to move the country from consumption to production and get our people employed, everything.
In attendance were former Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly, Senator Monsurat Sumonu, and Senior Executive Assistant to the Governor on General Duties, Chief Bayo Lawal. Olalekan Sulaiman, BCOS News.
Political stakeholders in Oyo State have called on the APC-controlled federal government to be wary of their actions and inaction. Speaker representing Ibadan Northeast constituency, Honorable Abiodun Babalola, stated this while featuring on the BCOS Current Affairs program, Kutuwai. Aman Bode Akinjola compiled excerpts from the live program. Bode's report is presented by Iroyin Lekun Rere.
The Tuesday live current affairs television program Kutuwai dissected the recent Ibadan gathering and declaration by the opposition political parties. Featuring on the program, a former member of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Ibrahim Taiwo revealed that the planting of moles within the opposition political parties birthed the summit held in Ibadan over the weekend. Honorable Taiwo warned that the opposition should be allowed to breathe and should be independent without interference from the APC-run federal government.
Some people fought for this democracy for God's sake. Don't forget the Nadeko days. And they discovered that the present government is trying to truncate this democracy with actions and inactions. Such actions like trying to prevent political parties, other opposition parties, to field candidates for the 2027 election. Such actions into opposition parties to destroy and disrupt the system in the opposition parties.
In his own reaction, a serving member of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Abiodun Babalola, opined that the counter releases from the APC federal government was due to fear of the coming together of different gladiators at the summit.
This was not initial plan. It was when we see the direction that this present government of APC is going. That's why we have to come up with that model, because it's just to force to make sure that there is no multi-party system, and democracy thrive on plurality of the party. So if there is a government of the day, the presidential, and it's come up with that with systems using judiciary and other arms of the government to be able to force the to relegate the opposition party, then the opposition party wising up and has, okay, don't worry, we are not going to contest on different platforms. Let us unite together, and that's very dangerous for the APC.
On the matter of an opposition consensus candidate for the 2027 presidential election, the duo were unanimous and optimistic in their submission that the decision will work out in the best interest of the opposition and the vast majority of Nigerians.
It's what we are trying to tell the federal government, especially those supporters of Tinubu administration, that they should not allow this democracy to be truncated by their nuances and their idiosyncrasies. They should allow democracy to thrive.
And I know that most of Nigerians, over 200 million Nigerians, are looking forward to the opposition party, especially that what are we going to do concerning this thing. I'm telling you, the national summit of opposition parties that we had on the 25th of April was actually the Nigerians are expecting it. They are all looking forward at what are the opposition going to do with this act of the APC going forward to make sure there are litigation in all the strong opposition parties.
Recall that part of the communique issued at the end of the opposition political parties' national summit held on Saturday, April 25, 2026 in Ibadan, was that the opposition should resist all machinations by the ruling APC to foist a one-party state on Nigeria. The gathering also resolved to ensure and sustain the survival of multi-party democracy in the country. The Ibadan Summit also noted that the INEC chairman, Professor Joel Ojo Amquiton, having allegedly shown bias and partisanship in favor of the ruling APC, should not conduct the 2027 general elections, as Nigerians across board have lost confidence in the INEC boss and its capacity to guarantee free, fair, and credible elections.
Today is International Safety and Healthy Day. The day also coincided with International Commemoration Day for Dead and Injured Workers. In this report, Olamipo Sishola critically examines the day and its significance. His report.
The theme of the World Day of Safety and Health at Work, observed on 28th April, is to stimulate dialogue on the importance of investing in safety and health at work, responding to emergencies and crises affecting workplaces. One of the main pillars of the global strategy is advocacy. The World Day for Safety and Health at Work is a significant tool to raise awareness how to make work safe and healthy and the need to raise the political profile of the occupational safety and health. April 28th is also the International Commemoration Day for Dead and Injured Workers, organized worldwide by the trade union movement since 1996. Some safety experts include Engineer Oluyemi Olumide and Engineer Jide King spoke on the essence of the day and importance of ensuring safety at work.
The theme for this year, ensuring is a healthy and psychosocial working environment. It is very, very perfect, absolutely perfect, because psychosocial as one of the 5 main hazards that we have in the workplaces has been relegated. Nobody is talking about psychosocial hazard again, but thank God for the initiative of International Labour Organization to bring it forth again this year. It's a very, very welcome idea. I will just appeal to the employer. They too, they are under pressure. Employees too are under pressure. There is a way for all of us to work mutually because we are aiming at the same goal.
It's a very serious one. The difference between psychosocial issues and many other things that happen at work is because it's usually the human being itself that is either reacting to the work environment negatively or that is having some issues that are external to the work environment, and they are importing those issues by way of behavior and other issues. What kind of behavior do you expect from a man who has gone through that kind of thing? How will he be behaving in the work environment? While some behaviors may be impacted by the work environment, like work stress, bullying, occupational environment, too much heat, too much noise, too much dust, exposure to machineries that could cause injuries and all of that. Those are occupational environment. But sometimes people can bring it out from outside the work environment.
International Day for Safety and Health at Work, also ensuring a healthy psychosocial working environment. The campaign, led by the International Labour Organization, ILO, highlights managing workload, autonomy, and work-life balance, as well as addressing workplace stress, burnout, and violence. Olamiposi Ishola, BCOS News.
And the labor and safety sector have called for stronger collaboration to promote healthier workplaces as Nigeria joined the rest of the world to mark the 2026 World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The event held in Oyo State focused on creating a safe psychosocial working environment. Our reporter, Folashade Akintola, was at the event held at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment Skills, Upgrading and Vocational Training Center, Onirike Ibadan, and now reports.
The 2026 World Day for Safety and Health at Work brought together key stakeholders in the labor sector, safety professionals, and government representatives to address emerging workplace challenges. The program team, ensuring a healthy psychosocial working environment, was organized by the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment in collaboration with the National Industrial Safety Council of Nigeria and the Institutes of Safety Professionals of Nigeria. Delivering the keynote address on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment, Barrister Ovie Ewewe, emphasized the importance of prioritizing workers' well-being. She stressed the need for sustained collaboration among stakeholders to build a strong preventive safety culture across workplace.
I call on all stakeholders to deepen collaboration and prioritize safety as a core business value, not an afterthought. As we navigate the future of work, we must embrace innovation while safeguarding workers. We must also address psychosocial risk in the workplace, occupational health challenges in the informal sector. Every worker, whether in a factory, office, farm, mine, or construction site, deserves protection. No job should cost a life. No worker should suffer illness due to preventable hazard.
Experts at the event describe psychosocial hazard as factors linked to how work is designed, organized, and managed. They advise employers to adopt realistic work structures, encourage open communication, and prioritize workers' mental health and well-being.
I plead with all manufacturers, plead with all companies, all public and private sectors to include psychological safety in their work, so that people can speak up, people can understand their roles and expectations. People are not under pressure and stress to deliver on their work.
Psychosocial hazard is very common where you have tendencies of bullying, harassments, intimidations, where workers don't seem like they enjoy their work. The environment itself can pose a kind of psychosocial threat to the worker.
In a goodwill messages, stakeholders reiterated that occupational safety and health remain a shared responsibility requiring active participation from governments, employers, and employees.
What are meant as we sad? What it is when we are sad mentally, we be able to have a good growth. It's when we have to produce growth in the society. You must be able to manage your own area of certification well.
Earlier in a welcome address delivered on behalf of the chairman of the National Industrial Safety Council of Nigeria, Oyo State Branch, Comrade Daramola Olatunbosun, the vice chairman, Engineer Yekin Adewale, urged participants to promote policy that encourage mutual respect, work-life balance, and access to support systems.
We want everybody to come to work and be happy. We want everybody to go back home and be happy. We don't want the people that were having a psychosocial issue when they get to the environment.
The event ended with a renewed commitment to ensuring that workplace safety goes beyond physical conditions to include emotional and mental well-being. Folashade Akintola, BCOS News.
It's another time out. Please don't go away.
Refreshment is goodness to go round in the Peak Yogurt Drink 1 liter full house pack with more refreshment, which contains fresh cow milk. Enjoy full house goodness filled with essential vitamin and minerals. Peak, reach for your peak.
Supra Malt Multivitamin Junior.
Welcome back. A 10.2 kVA solar inverter system has been commissioned at the School of Nursing, University College Hospital, Ibadan, to improve electricity supply and enhance effective teaching and learning. The project was facilitated by the Association of Moremi Women of Southern California in collaboration with the School of Nursing, UCH Alumni Association. Our reporter, Olamide Ulabi, was at the event held at the School of Nursing Auditorium and now reports.
Critical components in the effective functioning of educational institutions, supporting teaching, learning, and access to essential facilities. To address persistent power challenges, the Association of Moremi Women of Southern California, in partnership with the School of Nursing UCH Alumni Association, initiated the solar project as a sustainable solution. Established in 1997, the Association of Moremi Women of Southern California is a non-profit Nigerian-American group committed to promoting Yoruba culture and empowering women through education and community service. Speaking at the event, the Chief Medical Director of UCH, Professor Jesse Otegbayo, described the project as a reflection of the association's commitment to the growth of its alma mater and the advancement of healthcare education in Nigeria. He also urged students to make optimal use of the improved learning environment.
This particular intervention by the alumni is not for the clinical side of the hospital. It's for the students who will translate to health workers tomorrow. So in order to ease their learning environment, to let them have electricity for training, for research, and also for their comfort in their hostel accommodation.
In their separate remarks, the solar project advocate and past president of the Moremi Association, Mrs. Victoria Avigbabu, alongside the current president, Mrs. Taiwo Fanu, described the initiative as more than an intervention, noting that it represents a collective effort to build a lasting legacy.
This project is actually a legacy project. I am an alumni of this school, and giving back, setting up the fundraising, it's been a pleasure for the school that I love so much.
What we think is UCA has been here forever, and who comes to UCA? Mainly the indigenous people. So how can we help? Because not everybody has the same access to quality healthcare.
Earlier, the principal of the School of Nursing, Dr. Adenike Olaniyi, expressed appreciation for the gesture, noting that the project would have a lasting impact on the institution. Similarly, the president of the School of Nursing UCH Alumni Association, Professor Titi Filani, highlighted the long-standing collaboration between the association and the school, which she said has continued to yield positive results.
It has really been a good thing for us because, of course, as my CMD said, light and electricity has been a big issue for us as a teaching hospital because we all know what is happening in Nigeria. So having this as part of what is donated to us will go a very long way.
We collaborated with the Association of Moremi Women because we realized that the students are going through a lot of challenges, which we couldn't handle on our own. And when they brought up the idea of the solar project, we thought we could work together and make a success of the project.
Also speaking, the chairman of the occasion, Anjagun Olubadan of Ibadan Land, Chief Oladiran Alabi, described the project as a commendable initiative that will significantly benefit the school community.
I think the students deserve to be in an environment where they can allow to study and have everything they need to be able to achieve their educational goals.
Highlights of the event included a fundraising drive for the second phase of the solar project, cultural performance, and the presentation of awards to the associations and distinguished personalities. Olamide Owolabi, BCOS News.
The Olubadan of Ibadan Land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja Arusa I, has installed Kazim Adeyemi as the new Mogaji of Oluwo Odo-Osun compound in the burial area of Ibadan. Staff reporter Olubunmi Lawal witnessed the ceremony and now reports.
Ceremony celebrating tradition and communal unity as elders, sons, and daughters of the Oluwo Odo-Osun compound gathered to support their son, Kazim Adeyemi, on his installation as Mogaji. The event held at the Olubadan Palace in Okearemo attracted dignitaries, family members, and well-wishers from within and outside Ibadan. Speaking through the Balogun of Ibadan Land, Oba Tajuddin Ajibola, the Olubadan charged Mogajis to uphold justice, ensure security, and promote peaceful coexistence among their people. He also warned against any act capable of tarnishing the image and integrity of the Ibadan traditional institution. At the family compound, the newly installed Mogaji, Kazim Adeyemi, expressed gratitude to God and members of his family for the confidence reposed in him, pledging to lead with integrity and dedication.
It takes the priority for me to see to the peace of the family, of the clan, and the upbringing of the people that I'm Mogaji above. So that's my main objective, is to see them have a good life and to help them in any which way I can.
His wife, Sandra Adeyemi, also pledged her full support as he assumes the new leadership role.
I will always support him and I will always support him in any position. That's it.
Family members and friends described the new Mogaji as compassionate and generous. expressing confidence in his ability to lead effectively.
We are childhood friends. Well, he's a philanthropist, and I know him to be of good character, good behavior since our youth days.
And tó bá ti ń ṣe dáadáa ń lò tí ó máa ń wo ọmọlàkejì ẹ̀ láti ṣe dáadáa sọ́mọlàkejì ẹ̀. Mọ́gà yìí bó ṣe wà yẹn. Nǹkan tó bá wọ̀, ó prefer kẹjọ wọ̀ nǹkan kan náà.
He's a generous man. That is why we choose him to be our leader here.
Nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí, ó ṣojú mi. Tí mi ò tí ì kú, mo dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run. Kọ́lọ́run jẹ́ kí òye náà kó máa lórí. Káwọn alálẹ̀ ó tì lẹ́yìn.
Ọlọ́run kọ́ wá wà lùbáríkà ní Muhammad. Kọ́ bá ń jẹ́ kẹ́mi wọn ogun látàrí dáadáa. Ká gbé Olúbàdàn wọnú ilé Olúwo yìí.
Mo dúpẹ́ pé mo ṣàṣeyọrí lọ́dún yìí. Fún oyè yìí, mo dúpẹ́, mo mọ̀ lóore. Kó lọ́wọ́ ó jẹ́ kó gbé Olúbàdàn wọnú ilé Olúwo. Inú mi dùn, ayọ̀ mi kún.
Guests were later entertained at a reception featuring a variety of local delicacies and live musical performances. The installation of a Mogaji in Ibadan land goes beyond ceremony, serving as a reaffirmation of cultural identity, traditional authority, and communal values. Olubumi Lawal, BCOS News.
Now to our sports desk.
For joining us on the sports segment of the news. My fellow former world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, according to an announcement by Eddie, Joshua was not phoned since he was a passenger in a fatal car crash in December, who first have a comeback fight against Christian Prenga in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on the 25th of July. Fury and Joshua, both two-time world champions, have carried British boxing on the global stage for more than a decade, and yet, despite years of negotiations and false starts, the fight has never materialized. The 36-year-old Joshua must first get past unknown 35-year-old Albanian Prenga, who boasts a record of 20 wins, all by stoppage and 1 loss. The British fighter's most recent appearance in the ring was against Jake Paul in December. Later that month, Joshua's driver crashed in Nigeria with 2 members of the boxers' team being killed. And on to football, where Ghana has been officially confirmed as the host nation for the 2027 CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. And this marks a significant milestone for the country's football development agenda. The confirmation was announced by the Ghana Football Association, with the GFA president, Court Okraku, validating the decision. This will be Ghana's first time hosting the Continental Youth Tournament in nearly 3 decades, having last staged it in 1999, a competition where the host nation's under-20 side, the Back Satellites, went on to lift the trophy. The 2027 edition is expected to showcase some of Africa's brightest young talents, with Ghana set to leverage improved football infrastructure and venues that have hosted recent international competitions. Football stakeholders view the hosting right as a major boost for youth development in football in the country, as well as an opportunity to strengthen Ghana's reputation as a key destination for major continental tournaments. Croatia coach Zlatko Dalic believes Luka Modric will be fit to lead his side at this summer's World Cup after the AC Milan midfielder had surgery on a broken cheekbone. The 40-year-old was injured following a clash of heads with Juventus midfielder Manuel Locatelli when their sides drew goalless on Sunday. Milan said Modric had suffered a complex multi-fragment fracture of the left zygomatic bone and had undergone completely successful surgery. The San Siro side did not specify how long Modric might be out, but wished him a speedy recovery ahead of the FIFA World Cup. And we wrap up with the news that Eder Militao is said to be out of action for Real Madrid due to an injury. According to reports, he is expected to be out for about 5 months. It was reported earlier that Militao is scheduled to undergo surgery in Finland later this week as part of his recovery. The Real Madrid defender will be treated by a specialist experienced with his injury, with the procedure seen as an important step in his rehabilitation and long-term fitness. And with that, we have come to the end of the news from the ever-exciting world of sports. Thank you for joining. I am Victor Opone. Over to the main desk now for the rest of the news.
The United States President Donald Trump's national security team is reviewing an Iranian proposal aimed at halting its joint war with Israel, reopening the Strait of Hormuz and delaying negotiations over Tehran's nuclear program until after the war ends. The White House confirmed that Trump met his national security advisors to discuss the plan, while reports indicated that he was dissatisfied with main points. The House of Representatives has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to borrow over $516.3 million US dollars in syndicated financing from Deutsche Bank. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has paid a visit to Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, in a move to strengthen ongoing efforts towards a coalition of opposition parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. The United States President Donald Trump's national security team is reviewing an Iranian proposal aimed at halting its joint war with Israel, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and delaying negotiations over Tehran's nuclear program until after the war ends. BCOS website is live. Kindly visit www.bcostv.com. You can reach us on GoTV, channel 134 and channel 113 on Star Times. Now, before I go, do not join hoodlums in threatening the peaceful coexistence of